The next change is going to be your washing routine. For a long time, the popular wisdom was to not wash your hair if you're trying to grow dreads. Now we know that clean dreads with no soap residue actually lock faster and easier than dirty hair would.
Faster and easier.
And we have a special dread soap that helps them tighten. For the first month, while they're fragile, most people decide to wash them a little less.
Every 3 days.
Every 3 days.
Every 3 days.
Now, you can wash them every day, but every time you wash them, you're going to have some loose hair that pops out and requires attention. This won't be the case so much after the dreads are mature, but when they're new, they're not knotted as tightly, so the hair can pop out. Now, you'd say, well, if I only washed my hair every 3 days, it would get really oily and nasty. Well, your scalp produces oil to replace the oil that was washed away. So the point is, if you were to wait every 3 days for a while, eventually it would adjust and produce less oil. The best thing to do is to
reduce the frequency that you wash it.
Prior to getting dreads.
Like maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior.
And then when you put in the dreads, it'll go a whole lot smoother. Okay, about the hair itself and preparing it for dreads. Dry hair tends to knot better, dry, clean hair. So prior to getting dreads, you don't want to use any deep conditioners, and it's a good idea to not condition the hair when you wash it for at least several washings, if not, a couple weeks before you get the dreads. If you have it available, washing the hair with dread soap will actually make it cooperate a whole lot more when it comes down to putting the dreads in. When you actually start backcombing, it's going to just knot a whole lot easier. Now, if you have super coarse hair, like Asian hair, where each strand is very, very thick, that's generally the hardest hair to get to dread. So before you put in the dreads, you could bleach it or perm it, which would weaken the hair and dry the hair, and make putting the dreads in a little bit easier. I don't really recommend it. I like the idea of not using chemical processes to create the dreads. The hair is going to be stronger if you don't, and there's just something really attractive about using all-natural products and an all-natural dreading process. But with bleaching, you're going to notice a color change, and you're going to have to continue to re-bleach. And if you don't, then well, you can imagine what happens. Lastly, if you decide to take the dreads out, if you just cannot keep them, normally you'd be able to comb them out using some Dreadzasta, dread removal stuff, and go back to having regular hair. But if you've permed or bleached your hair, then you're not going to be able to go back to your hair the way it was before. Now, another really interesting option is braiding the hair before you dread it. Now, there's 2 reasons to do this. The first is kind of meaningless, but I'll tell you about it anyway. And that is, when you braid your hair and then wash it, and then dry it, and then remove the braid, you will notice it will be wavy. And that waviness, that added texture, will help backcombing a little bit, okay? But not so much that that's really the reason to do it. The real reason to braid your hair is that you can go to someone who puts in braids, like micro braids and cornrows and things like that, and have them actually do your sections. And generally, they're used to putting in braids that are much smaller than the sections that you want. And they're looking at, micro braids, and you want probably inch sections, So they're like, oh, this is a breeze, And they're probably not going to charge you very much at all. But the advantage is, of course, when you go to backcomb the dreads, so your friends go to backcomb the dreads on your dread party day, your big day, then all they have to do is pull off the rubber band, take out the braiding, and then backcomb it, okay? So this way, when everybody's there and everybody's ready to start, their little combs in hand, they'll be able to get right to it, instead of standing around waiting for somebody to try to section the hair who's never done it before.
And is trying really hard to help you out. That never happened to me.
Oh god, this is so hard. It's so scary.
It's definitely an option that you should check out. At least find out what it would cost and if there's somebody in your area that can put the sectioning in. The next thing to talk about is hair length, okay? Now, the biggest dread question that everybody asks is, how long does your hair need to be to get dreadlocks? 3 inches. Okay, 3 inches. I know I'm gonna hear that question tomorrow, but I've told you again. 3 inches is the minimum, but if it's longer, it's gonna be easier.
If it's longer, it's gonna be
easier.
Because if it's too short, I mean, you can do it, it's shorter than 3 inches. But the thing is that the hair just keeps coming out and coming out and coming out. You gotta put it back in, and it's a lot more work. Waiting until it's 3 inches is a good idea. The hair is gonna stay in the dreads better. If you can wait until it's 6 inches,
you're not gonna have any slipping out.
I think 6 inches is money. Like in swingers, they like call in 2 days, and he's like, no, I'm gonna call in 3 days. And I think 4 days is money. It's like, well, how long are you guys gonna wait? I'm like a week. I'm gonna delete that part. You know, 6 inches is probably money because you're going to spend less time maintaining them. But if you just cannot wait, if you want to put them in now, go ahead and do it at 3 inches. We'll talk about using rubber bands to reduce your maintenance and stuff. And if you're going to put it at 3 inches, you're almost going to have to use rubber bands, I think. Otherwise, you're just going to be constantly maintaining them, and it's going to be a huge pain in the ass. If your hair is longer, like if it's down in the middle of your back, obviously it's going to take longer to back comb when you're first putting them in. But the good news is that the hair is going to really stay in the dreads well.
You're not going to have any slipping out.
Except for new growth and stuff. You probably want to know how to get your hair to grow faster. There's some vitamin supplements that you can take to make your hair grow faster. How effective they are and how much they help you is really based on how many vitamins you're getting now. You know,
If you're getting plenty of vitamin A and E now, taking vitamin A and E is not going to make a whole lot of difference.
There's also an herb called horsetail.
I mean, maybe like a small, like 2%, 3% difference, but it's not going to be that much.
I've actually heard accounts of girls that have taken a lot of horsetail, maybe overdid it a little bit, and they ended up with mustaches and stuff. And then there's a bunch of other like vitamins and minerals that help. You can take those if you're trying to get your hair to grow faster. Another thing that actually helps hair growth is stimulation. Brushing and combing does increase, you know, blood flow to the follicles, which will help the hair grow a little bit faster. Faster and thicker. Don't overdo it. Don't sit there for like 10 minutes a day combing and brushing your hair. You can overdo it, and the follicles will like go into shock, and you can actually lose hair that way. So I've heard. I haven't done it personally, but yeah. So, you know, 2 minutes a day of like light brushing, just enough to, you know, make the scalp kind of like tingle or whatever. It doesn't even have to tingle, just some people recommend leaning their head over, like hanging it off the bed or something, so that you get more blood flow. And you can do that if you want. And that is all you need to know to prepare yourself for getting. So in the next Dreadvlog 2, no, this is Dreadvlog 2. The next Dreadvlogs are going to be actually putting them in and maintaining them. I know that's what you guys have been waiting for, but I wanted to go ahead and give you some background stuff too. All right? Okay, that's better. It's like starting to freak out there for a second. I did want to mention, if you like these, go ahead and vote for them if you like it. Just give me a little thumbs up or click on a little star or whatever. And the more people that see it, the more fun it is, and you know, the more people we can tell about dreads. Link to it if you want. Dreadlocks.tv is the official site of the vlog, and the best place to respond with a video response. So if you want to ask a question about starting your dreads or about, you know, anything.
Question I'd like to ask you, are the sickest dreads I've ever seen.
If you like these dreads, you're not going to be able to go back to your hair the way it was before. And if you don't, then, well, you can imagine what happens.
Why do they have little decorations and beads? Got another one. Yeah, it's a smiley face, I think. Makes it clean, people comment on it. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Just wondering.
So L2Oho wants to know why I don't have stuff in my dreads, like beads and other dread deco. Well, actually I do, but it's kind of small. If you come in a little closer, I'll show you what I got. I'll show you what I got. This is a glass bead. Very nice. Check that bad boy out right there. We have a dread coil. This is kind of like a big springy looking thing. I like this a lot. This is very nice. This is a tiger's eye bead. It's definitely one of my favorite beads. It's real shiny, and as you can see, it kind of changes in the light. Damn hippie, watch it. This is also really cool. This is a Rasta Paley Stitch coil.
Rasta colors.
You can get all these fantastic beads at dreadhq.com. There's a feeder bead that has flowers on it. It's kind of girly, but that's alright. This is a full-size glass bead. I didn't have any dreads that were big enough, but I combined a couple, and it fit on rather nicely. Thanks to L2Oho for his question. This is the super cool shirt that he wins. If I use your question in a vlog, you get a t-shirt. You'll be seen on Dreadlocks.tv, and then your shirt will say, as seen on Dreadlocks.tv. It's wonderful. Now you know everything you need to know before you put in your dreads. Part 3 is going to start talking about how to put them in. We're actually going to get into the good stuff. And we're going to talk about sectioning. We're going to talk about big dreads versus small dreads and advantages and disadvantages of them. And we're going to tell you how to control dread size and shape with your sectioning. So we'll see you next time in Dreadhead Dreadvlog 3. Alright, take care. Bye.